The other day, I did a video and I talked about dying with zero. So for people that maybe have the idea that they don't want to leave any money for anybody else, you don't have kids, or maybe you do, you just don't want to help them out, whatever the case is, your goal is to work hard for your money, save up all of this money, and then spend it in retirement. What better way to do that than the video that I showed on cash flow analysis and really breaking this down and presenting the risks as well. But, there were some people that thought different than what I thought. And, I'm open to suggestions. And so I wanted to really look at the comments and figure out, what people's thoughts were. And not only that, maybe answer the questions of what they're mentioning here. And so one of the comments was, my favorite part of the die with zero people is they will never consider an income annuity, which is truly the best tool to die with zero. The best tool. That's what they said. So I'm going to look at this. I'm going to look at the actual numbers and figure out, is it the best tool? Because if so, I failed you all. I really want to let you know that. All right. So let's take a look at the next one. The next one is, I will be nice because we are supposed to be. Well, thank you. Thank you for being nice. I watched this to get a viewpoint on different drawdown methods. You gave one strategy for spending down your portfolio. I assume you ignored other strategies because you don't know about them. I don't know anything. Very poor video. That wasn't real nice. To not even tackle alternative strategies like base income annuities or life insurance options. Well, I want to mainly focus on one. And if you've followed me at all, you've probably learned through my history, and I will get into the video and really show you all of the data on this. But I started in the financial industry working for an insurance/financial company. I've kind of made it a point in life now to, generally speaking, prove the insurance companies wrong, because I feel that almost everything is sold on fear. Almost everything is sold for a commission, and it's not truly working in your best interest. This isn't a dig at anybody in a comment. Actually, thank you for bringing up this, because I didn't mention certain things, and I want to go into annuities because a lot of people do consider, should I buy an annuity or should I do something different? And so I'm going to break this down. I'm going to use facts that I found here, and I'm actually just going to show you right away. New York Life Guaranteed Lifetime Income Annuity 2. And so with that, the single life annuity payout is 6.85% at age 65. The way these work, and as you could see there, let me just show you again, the older you are, the higher the payout they are going to pay you. For a joint life, they're going to pay you a little bit less. It's all going to vary depending on ages and the possibility that a female is going to live longer than a male. They're basing that on factual numbers there. They look at mortality tables. They look at things to really calculate, how will we make sure that over the majority of the policies we sell, we don't lose money? That's the insurance company's job. What they are going to do with an annuity is they're going to take risk off the table. You don't have to worry about anything. A lot of people that are super skeptical of the stock market, they have a lot of fear. They can't sleep at night. They have chest pains when they open their account and it's down 5%. Those are the type of people that generally end up going with the annuity. And am I going to tell you that that's wrong? No, it's not what I would personally suggest, but also you're talking to a guy who has worked in finance now for quite some time, and I've seen numbers, I've worked with numbers, I've invested, I understand the risk tolerance of what things are, my risk tolerance, number one, but I understand the markets. I've seen the markets come and go at different times. I mean, I bought my first house in 2008. I was working, I lost a massive contract during those times. I've been through the thick of some of it. Now, I know there's going to be people out there looking, saying, well, no, this guy hasn't been through the thick of it. He missed this era, the 80s when, we were getting interest rates of 17% on our house and stuff. I get it. I've studied those things, though. And I just want to really present the numbers to you on this. So if we're looking here, the New York Life Guaranteed Lifetime Income Annuity, I'm going to take this age 65, 6.85%. Now, some people say, well, I would love to go with that because I'm going to get 6.85% on my money as a return. That is true. That is the way that it's going to pay out. Now, the issue with this, and one of the issues that I have with it, is that when you give the money to the annuity company and you take a guaranteed income payment, there is generally not inflation increases. And if there is an inflation increase, New York Life actually, on one of the things here, when I was researching this, says you can keep up with inflation. Use optional features to help maintain your purchasing power. Optional features means optional things that you're going to have to pay for. There's some kind of break there. I personally was not able to find that. If you're an annuity person, you want to combat me on something, happy to talk with you on this. Leave a comment. But oftentimes if it's 6.85%, but you want to keep up with inflation, that's going to be a different number. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take this at apples to apples. I did not want to talk through inflation. I don't want to talk through taxes. I want to talk directly apples to apples. You're getting 6.85% on your money. I'm going to take it and I'm going to say, I'm going to invest that money and get you 6.85%. Now, there is the risk with investing. And so I'm presenting that and telling you that as this whole portfolio that I'm going to show you. Now, one interesting thing though, is since I was talking about inflation, I want to make sure that I show you this as well, because inflation is something that you have to factor into a plan. I'm not factoring into this because I want to do the apples to apples. But at 6.85%, if you have $6,850, just to give you an idea, it's actually less than that. It's actually, but if it's 68,500, if we're talking for the full year, let's see. So at 3% inflation in 15 years. So if you retire at 65 years old, and you start withdrawing a guaranteed income with annuity that's going to pay 6.85%, that's $68,500 per year. In 15 years, the purchasing power would be $43,967. And so just showing you that alone, the risk that I see with going, with an annuity that doesn't have any kind of increase, and a reason why I won't present this as an actual option that I would recommend, is because you are going to basically be out of a lot of money over time because of inflation. They're factoring in paying you this certain rate. Maybe you don't need all of that money. Maybe you say, hey, you know what? Well, great. My expenses are less. I can park some money aside. There's some things that you could do, hopefully, to combat the inflation. Another issue that I have with it before I actually compare the apples to apples is along the lines of you needing any kind of liquidity. If you give this to your money up and you're giving it to the annuity company, that means that you're giving up the liquidity. You're going to take an income stream, a guaranteed set income stream the rest of your life. Well, that's fine, but what happens if you do need money? Sometimes there's companies that will allow you to access some of that money. You could pull it out, but then they're going to pay you a lesser amount. And so then you're throwing off your calculation. Also, there's not any customization with this. I like the idea of customization. We talk about go-go years, slow-go years, no-go years. Maybe in 15 years, 43,000 that I had showed you here is something that you can work with because you're in the slow-go or no-go years. But at the same time, what happens if you want to live a little more in the early years of retirement? You worked hard for your money. Spend a little bit of that now, and then in the later years, we can slow you down. That's the kind of stuff that we like to customize on a financial plan. And again, why I just wouldn't recommend the annuity. And so let's take a look. Let's look at the actual numbers, apples to apples, like I say. So I've adjusted this plan to show you zero inflation. This person's 65 years old. They're retired. Their goal is to retire at 65. Their retirement expense is $5,708 per month. That is going to come out to $68,500. There's actually a couple cents there that's not factored in. I put it as a Roth IRA. And the reason I did that was because I wanted to factor this in without any kind of tax, without any kind of inflation or anything else, as I'd mentioned. And so if we're looking at this breakdown, I base it on a 50-50 model portfolio. So that's 50% stocks, 50% bonds. You do have an average annual return there, 6.2%, standard deviation of 8.8%. I could look at this in many different scenarios. I'm just giving you this as, this is the one thing that's going to be slightly different because you will have market risk that comes into play. But is it worth the market risk to you to have some sort of buffer when it comes to this, or the fact that, you could customize your plan? What works best for you? And so if we're looking at this here, I'm going to go to the retirement tab. And I'm going to take a look. This person has a 69% probability that they're still going to have $446,000 at the end of the plan. And so that's actually adjusted for inflation. If we didn't adjust for inflation at all when it comes to that, Actually, it's the same 446 given me there. So let's leave that one. All right. And so what we're looking at here is 65 passing away at 90 years old, 5708. I talked about the risks in the previous video of living longer, higher inflation, all of these things. We're not factoring in Social Security as well because, again, I'm wanting to do just apples to apples when it comes to things. This is the Monte Carlo that we use. It's a bit different than the cash flow. I had talked about this in the other video, if you want to go back and watch that, where the Monte Carlo is not always the best one to actually spend down the money. Because it's actually factoring in potentially you having a lot more money at the end of the plan, because it's wanting to make sure you have a buffer so that you never run out of money. It's a bit more of a conservative approach to retirement planning than the general cash flow analysis. The cash flow analysis is one where it's going to tell us that we're going to get a 6.2% return every single year. Now, if we do break that down, this is what I talked about on the other video. You'd want to stay on top of things, make sure that you're monitoring this. But if we scroll down here on the cash flow analysis, it's saying that you would have $627,872 remaining at the end of the plan. Now, again, this may not be the case exactly because performance could be a little bit less than what it's actually modeling. There's going to be higher years, there's going to be lower years. But looking at the annuity versus something like this, every single time, I would not want to recommend the annuity. Now, again, I'm going all the way back to the beginning of this video where I personally mentioned that I've worked in this. I've seen it. I've seen the models. I've ran the studies. I've looked at different stats. And I also know the idea of the insurance company is always set to generally win. I mean, look at your insurance bills. You tell me if the insurance companies are winning or not. When you drive to a downtown and you look up some of the skyscrapers and you see who's on the top. Is MetLife up there or, somebody else or not? You tell me how they're funding all of these things. Is it because they're losing money off of your investment? Probably not. And so personally, I'm looking to make sure that I'm recommending things that I'm comfortable telling you about. I don't work in the insurance industry. I'm happy that I started in it so that I could learn about it, but it's not something that I would ever recommend when it comes to my family. Now, if you are completely risk averse and this is something that you just cannot take the stock market, the annuity is out there. I don't want to tell you that it's not an option. Have I told people that before as a financial advisor? I absolutely have, because I want to do what is best for you. But I'm not going to sit here and put something out publicly that if I run the numbers apples to apples is not the best for somebody. And also I know that oftentimes they're making potentially a 3% commission in one day off of a sale of that. If you put $1 million in there, that person could potentially walk off with $30,000 that day. Then you pick up the phone to try to get a hold of that person later on after they've made that sale. What's their incentive to actually work with you from then on anything else? Not a dig at the financial industry when it comes to insurance. I apologize if you're getting offended by it, but that's my personal view and things that I have personally experienced. So for the people that left the comments, thank you for leaving those so that I could truly share this scenario right here. You had also mentioned a couple other strategies, and if you've watched, I won't go in, I could make a 45-minute video on all of this, but the idea is I want to present things out here that I feel are the best for people watching. But if you want other scenarios that are out there, let me know in the comments. If you want me to look at something ever, I would love to do that. And again, thank you for leaving that comment so that I could take a stance here, but also share what other options could be out there and show apples to apples what those could be. All right, well, that's it for today. If you have something else you want me to talk about, let me know. If you haven't, check us out, jazzwealth.com. We'd be happy to help you.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.